Welcome back to our channel. In this video, we reveal some of the most valuable coins in the world, coins that collectors and investors are willing to pay thousands or even millions for. Imagine this: you're holding a simple penny. It looks ordinary, maybe even forgettable. You might have tossed it into a jar, left it in your car cup holder, or ignored it at the bottom of your drawer. But what if I told you that one specific penny from the year 2000, yes, just one, could be worth up to $5 million? Not a typo, not a fantasy. $5 million from a single coin that millions of Americans have already handled without realizing its true value. Now ask yourself, how many pennies have passed through your hands without a second glance? Let's pause for a second. When was the last time you actually looked at a penny closely? Not just glanced, but really examined it? Exactly. That's where the opportunity lives, hidden in plain sight. This is the story of the 2000 Lincoln penny with no mint mark error, a coin that has quietly become one of the most talked about treasures in the modern rare coin market. And if you stay with me until the end, you'll understand not just why it's so valuable, but how you might already be closer to life-changing wealth than you think. Back in the year 2000, billions of Lincoln pennies were produced. Most of them were completely normal, carrying small mint marks indicating where they were made. But in rare cases, something went wrong, something subtle, something almost invisible to the untrained eye. A small group of pennies were struck without a mint mark due to a production anomaly. And in the world of coin collecting, wrong often means extremely valuable. Now here's where it gets exciting. These error coins weren't supposed to exist in circulation the way they did. And because they slipped through unnoticed at the time, many ended up in everyday transactions. Grocery stores, gas stations, pocket change. Think about that. A coin potentially worth millions, used to buy a cup of coffee. But here's the truth most people don't want to hear. Opportunities like this don't wait forever. The longer people stay unaware, the greater the chance someone else recognizes the value before you do. And once these coins are discovered and pulled out of circulation, their availability shrinks, while their demand skyrockets. Let me ask you something. If you knew there was even a small chance that one coin in your possession could change your financial future, would you ignore it? Or would you take action today? Now, let's talk about value. Why would a penny, something most people consider nearly worthless, command a price tag as high as $5 million? Comes down to three powerful forces: rarity, condition, and demand. When a coin is rare due to a production error, preserved in near-perfect condition, and sought after by serious collectors, its value can climb to astonishing levels. But here's the twist, and this is where most people make a costly mistake. Not every 2000 penny without a visible mint mark is automatically worth millions. The real value lies in identifying specific error characteristics, verifying authenticity, and ensuring the coin is graded at a high level by professionals. Think of it like real estate. Not every house is worth millions, but the right house in the right condition, in the right market, becomes priceless. And right now, the rare coin market is experiencing a surge in demand. Collectors, investors, and even everyday individuals are entering this space, searching for hidden gems that others have overlooked. The competition is increasing. The stakes are rising. And the window of opportunity is narrowing. Here's a quick reality check. Someone somewhere is going through their old coin jars right now. Someone is already searching. The question is, will they find it before you do? Let's lighten that for a second. Imagine explaining to your friends that you became a millionaire because you finally decided to clean out that dusty coin jar. Sounds ridiculous until it's not. Now picture the alternative. You ignore this. You move on. Months pass, maybe years. And then one day, you hear a story about someone discovering a rare penny worth millions. And it hits you: you had jars of coins. You had chances. But you didn't look. So here's what you need to understand moving forward. This isn't about luck. It's about awareness. It's about recognizing that extraordinary value often hides in ordinary places. And most importantly, it's about taking action before the rest of the world catches up. Start by examining your coins carefully. Look at your 2000 Lincoln pennies. Pay attention to the details. Compare them. Learn what makes a true error stand out. And when you find something unusual, don't guess. Get it verified by experts who can confirm its authenticity and grade its condition. Because once verified, that small copper coin in your hand could transform into something far greater than money. Could represent freedom, security, opportunity, a completely different lifestyle. And let's be honest, that's what this is really about. Not just coins, but what those coins can unlock for you and your future. So the next time you see a penny, don't dismiss it. Don't overlook it, because hidden in that tiny piece of copper could be a story waiting to change your life. Imagine reaching into a jar of loose change and pulling out a single penny that could be worth more than a luxury mansion. Sounds unbelievable, right? But what if I told you that a rare 2021 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny has been whispered about in collector circles as being worth up to $3 million under the right conditions? Before you dismiss it as hype, stay with me, because by the end of this video, you may look at every penny you own very differently. Let's begin with a question that might make you slightly uncomfortable. When was the last time you actually looked at your coins? Not spent them, not tossed them in a jar, but really looked? Because hidden in plain sight, among billions of ordinary coins, are rare minting errors, tiny mistakes that transform everyday pennies into life-changing assets. And the 2021 D Lincoln cent is at the center of one of the most talked about modern coin mysteries. Now picture this. It's 2021. The US Mint in Denver is producing millions upon millions of Lincoln pennies. Machines are running fast, precision is everything. But even the most advanced systems aren't perfect. And occasionally, just occasionally, something slips through. A misalignment, a double strike, a die crack so unusual it becomes a fingerprint of rarity. These errors aren't supposed to exist, but when they do, they create opportunity. Massive opportunity. Here's where the story turns from interesting to urgent. Because a small number of 2021 D pennies have reportedly surfaced with extreme minting anomalies, the kind that make seasoned collectors stop mid-sentence. We're talking about dramatic doubling, off-center strikes, or rare die errors that shouldn't have passed quality control. And when a coin combines rarity, visibility, and collector demand, its value doesn't just rise, it can explode. Now you might be thinking, okay, but $3 million. For a penny? Let's reset your thinking for a second. Penny is only worth 1 cent. Until it isn't. In the world of coin collecting, value isn't based on face value. It's based on scarcity, condition, and demand. And when those three factors collide in the right way, the results can be staggering. There are coins that have sold for millions simply because they are one of a kind. So the real question is, what if one of those coins is already in your possession? Let me challenge you with something. Somewhere in America right now, someone is unknowingly holding on to a coin worth a fortune. Maybe it's sitting in a drawer. Maybe it's in an old piggy bank. Or maybe, just maybe, it's in your pocket. That's not fantasy. That's probability. And here's where the fear kicks in. Because every day people unknowingly spend rare coins. They pass them off at gas stations, grocery stores, vending machines, never realizing what they had. Gone. Forever. Imagine spending a coin worth millions on a cup of coffee. That's not just a missed opportunity. That's a financial tragedy. But now, shift from fear to excitement. Because you're here. You're aware. And awareness is where wealth begins. The 2021 D Lincoln penny with a significant mint error is exactly the kind of coin collectors are hunting for right now. Demand is rising. Interest is growing. And when the market locks onto a rare find, prices can skyrocket almost overnight. So what should you be looking for? Look closely at your 2021 pennies with the D Mint mark. Examine the lettering, the date, Lincoln's profile. Do you see doubling? Any unusual distortions? Is the strike off-center or uneven? Does something feel off? Trust that instinct. Because in this world, off often means valuable. And here's a quick reality check. No magnifying glass? No problem. Even subtle errors can sometimes be seen with the naked eye. But if you do have a magnifier, now is the time to use it. Think of it as a treasure hunt. Except the treasure is already yours. Let's add a little perspective. People spend years chasing opportunities like this: investments, businesses, risks. Yet here you are, with a chance that could literally be sitting in your spare change. No startup cost. No risk. just awareness and action. And yes, let's pause for a second, because if you're still watching, you're probably either very curious or already reaching for your coin jar. If it's the second one, I respect that. That's exactly the kind of action that separates those who hear about opportunities from those who take them. Now, let's talk about the current market. While not every 2021 D-era penny will command millions, the most extreme and rare examples, especially in pristine condition, are being valued at extraordinary levels in private sales and collector speculation. The upper-end figure of $3 million represents the kind of valuation that occurs when rarity meets hype and serious buyers compete. And in today's market, that combination is more powerful than ever. But here's the urgency you cannot ignore. The longer you wait, the higher the chance that these coins are discovered by someone else, or worse, lost forever in circulation. The window of opportunity is open right now, but it won't stay open forever. So take action today. Go through your coins. Look carefully. Be patient, because finding one rare penny could change your financial future in ways most people only dream about. And as we come to the end of this story, remember, this wealth doesn't always arrive in obvious ways. Sometimes it comes disguised as something small, ordinary, even overlooked, like a single penny. Imagine this: you're holding a simple, ordinary penny. It's been sitting in a jar, lost between couch cushions, or buried in a drawer for years. Now imagine that same penny is quietly worth $4 million. Not a rare gold coin, not a museum artifact, just a 2018 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny hiding in plain sight. Sounds unbelievable, right? But here's the truth: stories like this are happening, and the people who recognize them early are the ones walking away wealthy. So the real question is, could you already have one? A few years ago, a collector, someone just like you, not a billionaire, not an expert with decades of experience, was going through a routine roll of pennies. Nothing glamorous, no spotlight, just curiosity. And then, something didn't look right. The coin had a subtle but powerful anomaly, the kind of detail most people would overlook without a second thought. But this person paused, looked closer, trusted their instinct. That single moment of attention turned an ordinary day into a life-changing discovery. The 2018 D Lincoln penny has become one of the most talked about modern coins among elite collectors. Why? Because certain rare error variations, tiny imperfections created during the minting process, can transform a 1-cent coin into a multi-million-dollar asset. We're talking about errors so rare that only a handful may exist. And when rarity meets demand, the market reacts explosively. Think about it: wealthy collectors are not buying these coins because they need pennies. They're buying them because they represent exclusivity, history, and status. Owning something almost no one else has. That's power. That's prestige. And right now, the demand for rare mint era coins is rising faster than most people realize. But here's the part most people ignore, and this is where fear should kick in just a little. Every single day, valuable coins are being spent, ignored, or dismissed as worthless. Millions of people unknowingly pass these treasures through their hands without ever noticing. Imagine losing $4 million because you didn't take a closer look. That's not just a missed opportunity, that's a silent financial disaster. Because the difference between someone who finds life-changing money and someone who doesn't often comes down to a few seconds of attention. The specific errors tied to the 2018 D penny can include unusual striking mistakes, die anomalies, or subtle doubling effects that only become visible under careful inspection. These aren't flaws, they're signatures of rarity. And in the collector's world, rarity is everything. A single confirmed, high-grade error coin can ignite bidding wars that push prices into the millions. Because the truth is, the rarest coins don't announce themselves. They don't shine differently. They don't feel heavier in your hand. They blend in, quietly, patiently, waiting for the right person to recognize their value. We live in a time where people are searching for financial breakthroughs, side hustles, investments, opportunities. But sometimes the most powerful opportunities aren't new. They're already sitting in your home, hidden in coin jars, old piggy banks, forgotten collections passed down through family. The wealth you're chasing might already be within reach, you just haven't looked closely enough. Now here's a quick reality check, because I know attention drifts sometimes, so let me reset you for a second. The market for rare coins is not static. Values shift, discoveries happen. And once a rare coin is identified and sold, the opportunity narrows. The earlier you act, the greater your advantage. Waiting doesn't just delay success, it can erase it. You don't need to be a professional numismatist. You don't need expensive equipment. What you need is awareness, curiosity, and the willingness to take action. Start looking, start learning, start recognizing patterns that others ignore. Because the people who win in this space aren't always the smartest, they're the most attentive. Picture yourself discovering that one coin. The moment your heart skips, the realization that what you're holding could transform your financial future. The freedom, the lifestyle, the doors that open when money is no longer a limitation. So tonight, don't scroll past this idea. Don't tell yourself it's unlikely. Instead, ask yourself a better question. Because somewhere out there, another 2018 D Lincoln penny error coin is waiting to be found. And the only thing standing between you and that discovery is whether you decide to look. Picture this, you're holding a simple penny. The kind most people ignore, toss in jars, or leave behind at the checkout counter. But what if that 1-cent coin in your hand isn't just spare change? What if it's a hidden fortune worth millions? Today, we're diving into a story that has stunned collectors, shocked everyday Americans, and turned pocket change into life-changing wealth. The 2017 D Lincoln penny, yes, that ordinary-looking coin from Denver, has sparked one of the most exciting whispers in the coin world. A rare error version rumored to command values as high as $3 million. And here's the truth that should make you sit up straight: coins like this don't announce themselves. They hide in plain sight. Now, before you dismiss this as just another collector myth, let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked closely at your pennies? Not glanced, really looked. Because the difference between 1 cent and $1 million discovery is often a detail so small most people miss it entirely. And that's exactly why opportunities like this still exist. Let's step into the first act of our story, the discovery. In 2017, millions of Lincoln pennies were struck at the Denver Mint, marked with the small but powerful D Mint mark. They entered circulation like any other year, unnoticed, ordinary, forgettable. But somewhere in that massive production run, something went wrong. And in the world of coin collecting, wrong can mean incredibly right for the person who finds it. We're talking about minting errors, tiny anomalies created during the coin-making process. A misalignment, a double strike, a die crack, a missing element. These aren't flaws, they're signatures of rarity. Now here's where the excitement builds. A small number of collectors began noticing unusual characteristics in certain 2017 D pennies. Subtle differences, strange doubling, irregular surfaces, the kind of details that separate a common coin from a collector's dream. And once word began to spread, the hunt was on. Because in this market, rarity plus demand equals explosive value. But let's pause for a second, because I know what you're thinking. If something like this existed, wouldn't everyone already know? That's the beauty of coin collecting. The answer is no. The market thrives on discovery. New errors are identified years after coins enter circulation. And many are still sitting unnoticed in jars, drawers, and old piggy banks across America. Yes, even yours. Now we move into the second act, the rising tension and the opportunity. As speculation grew around the rare 2017 D-era pennies, so did their perceived value. Stories began circulating about coins fetching thousands, then tens of thousands, and in some extreme discussions, valuations reaching into the millions for the rarest and most pristine examples. And whether you're skeptical or excited, one thing is undeniable: high-end collectors are always searching for the next legendary coin. Think about it. Wealthy collectors don't just buy coins. They invest in history, rarity, and exclusivity. The rarer the error, the higher the demand. And demand is what drives prices into extraordinary territory. It's not just about metal. It's about scarcity and the story behind it. Now here's where urgency kicks in. Because while you're watching this, thousands of people across the country are already searching their coins. Some are going through old collections passed down from family. Others are checking rolls from the bank. And a few, just a few, are finding things that make their hearts race. The question is, Will you be one of them, or will you let the opportunity slip by? Let me reset your attention for a second because this part is important. If you found a penny worth even $10,000, would you recognize it? Or would it end up back in circulation because it looked normal? That's the silent risk most people face. Not ignorance, but assumption. Back to our story. As interest in the 2017 D-era pennies intensified, experts began analyzing known examples. Authentication became critical, because in a market where values can skyrocket, verification is everything. Professional grading services examine coins under magnification, confirming whether an error is genuine and assessing its condition. And condition, that's another key factor. A rare error in pristine condition can multiply its value dramatically. Now imagine this moment. You're sitting at your table, a small pile of coins in front of you. You pick up a 2017 D penny. At first glance, nothing special. But then you notice something unusual. Your pulse quickens. You lean in closer. Could this be it? That feeling, that mix of doubt and excitement, is exactly what drives collectors. It's the thrill of the hunt, the possibility that something extraordinary is hiding in something ordinary. And here's a little humor to keep us grounded. If pennies could talk, they'd probably laugh at how often they get ignored. Oh, you dropped me? No problem. I might be worth your car. Funny, but not entirely untrue. Now we enter the final act, the resolution and the transformation. The idea of a $3 million penny isn't just about money. It's about awareness. It's about understanding that value isn't always obvious. And in a world where people chase big opportunities, sometimes the biggest ones are already in your possession. The current market for rare coin errors is stronger than ever. Collectors are actively seeking unique pieces. Auctions are setting new records. And the demand for authenticated, high-grade error coins continues to rise. While not every 2017 D penny will be worth millions, the possibility of finding a highly valuable error is very real. And that possibility is what makes this journey so powerful. But here's the truth you need to hear. Waiting is the enemy of opportunity. Every day you delay checking your coins is another day someone else could be discovering theirs. This isn't about luck. It's about action. The people who find valuable coins aren't necessarily experts. They're the ones who take the time to look. So tonight, or tomorrow morning, or whenever you have a quiet moment, go find your pennies. Check your drawers. Open those old jars. Look closely at every 2017 coin with a D mint mark. Pay attention to details, because the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is often just a closer look. And as we close this story, remember this: wealth doesn't always come from chasing something new. Sometimes it comes from recognizing the hidden value in what you already have. A single penny, overlooked by millions, could be the one that changes everything. So the next time you see a penny, don't ignore it. Pick it up. Examine it. Because in that small copper coin could be more than just 1 cent. It could be your breakthrough moment. Picture this: you're holding a simple penny. Just 1 cent, something most people wouldn't even bend down to pick up. But what if I told you that one tiny copper coin, possibly sitting right now in your drawer, your car cup holder, or that old jar in your kitchen, could be worth $2 million? Not someday, not in theory, but right now in today's market. Sounds unbelievable? Good, because what I'm about to reveal will completely change the way you look at every coin you own. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually looked at a penny? Not glanced, not ignored. Really studied it. Because hidden in plain sight is one of the most talked about modern coin mysteries in the United States. The 2013 Lincoln penny with no mint mark error. And collectors, serious collectors, are quietly hunting for it. Aggressively, relentlessly, and paying life-changing money when they find the right one. Now here's where it gets interesting. In 2013, billions of pennies were produced. Most of them, completely ordinary, worth exactly 1 cent, maybe 2 if you're lucky. But a rare few, a microscopic fraction, were struck under unusual conditions that left them without a mint mark where there absolutely should be one. And that tiny missing detail? It transforms an everyday coin into a potential multimillion-dollar asset. Think about that for a second. The difference between 1 cent And $2 million is a detail smaller than a grain of rice. And here's the part most people don't realize. These coins didn't come with a warning label. They weren't announced. They weren't pulled from circulation. They were released into the public just like every other penny. Which means there's a very real chance, yes, real, that they are still out there, passing from hand to hand, sitting unnoticed, waiting for someone who knows exactly what to look for. Now, I know what you might be thinking. If it's worth millions, wouldn't someone have found all of them already? That's a fair question, but history tells us otherwise. Rare coins have a habit of hiding in plain sight for decades, even centuries. People overlook them because they assume value looks obvious. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. Let me shift your perspective for a moment. Imagine dumping out a jar of pennies onto your table tonight. You start sorting through them casually, maybe even skeptically. Then suddenly you see it, a 2013 Lincoln penny. You flip it over. Your heart slows for just a second. You check the date again. Then you look for the mint mark, and it's not there. Because finding a coin like this is only step one. Recognizing it correctly, that's where the real power is. The 2013 no mint mark Lincoln penny error is believed to result from a die anomaly or minting inconsistency that slipped through quality control. And when something like that happens in modern coin production, it creates a perfect storm of rarity, demand, and value. Collectors love errors, not because they're mistakes, but because they're anomalies. They break the rules. And in the world of numismatics, breaking the rules can make you very, very wealthy. Now let's talk about the number that's probably still echoing in your mind, $2 million. Is every 2013 penny without a mint mark worth that much? No. And that's exactly why this matters. Because the coins that are worth that kind of money meet very specific conditions: strike quality, preservation, authenticity, and verification by top grading services. But here's the truth most people won't tell you. You don't need every coin to be worth millions. You just need one. And right now, there is a surge of interest in rare pennies across the United States. Collectors are paying premiums. Auction houses are watching closely. Private buyers are actively searching. The demand is not fading, it's growing. And as awareness spreads, the window of opportunity begins to narrow. Let me pause for a second, quick reality check. How many pennies have passed through your hands in your lifetime? Thousands? Tens of thousands? And how many did you actually inspect? That's not a mistake. That's conditioning. We've been trained to ignore small value. But what if small value is exactly where the biggest opportunities are hiding? Here's where urgency comes into play. Every day that passes, more people are learning about rare coin errors. More eyes are searching. More coins are being pulled out of circulation and locked into collections, which means fewer chances for discovery. And the people who act early, they're the ones who win. So what should you do right now? Start looking. Not casually, not later, but today. Go through your coins. Check your drawers. Open that old piggy bank you haven't touched in years. Because the truth is simple, your next financial breakthrough might not come from a stock, a business, or a risky investment. And not just any penny, but a 2013 Lincoln cent with no mint mark, quietly waiting to be recognized. Before we close, let me leave you with this thought. Wealth doesn't always announce itself. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it disguises itself as something ordinary. And sometimes it fits in the palm of your hand. What if I told you that a single penny, yes, a coin you've probably ignored, dropped, or even left in your car cup holder, could be worth up to $4 million today? Not a rare gold coin, not a century-old artifact, but a modern 2006 Lincoln penny with no mint mark. Sounds impossible, right? That's exactly what most people thought, until collectors started uncovering something extraordinary hiding in plain sight. Picture this. It's an ordinary day. You're sorting through loose change, maybe cleaning out an old jar, maybe just waiting for your coffee to brew. And then you see it, a 2006 Lincoln penny. Nothing special at first glance. But then you notice something missing. No mint mark. And in that moment, whether you realize it or not, you could be holding a life-changing opportunity in the palm of your hand. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you really looked at your coins? Not glanced, looked. Because while millions of people overlook these tiny details every single day, a small group of informed collectors are quietly turning pennies into fortunes. And here's the truth. The window to recognize and act on this opportunity is closing faster than most people think. Now let's break this down. In 2006, the U.S. Mint produced Lincoln pennies at multiple facilities. Typically, coins minted in Philadelphia carry no mint mark, while others, like those from Denver, have a small D. So at first glance, a missing mint mark might not sound unusual. But here's where things get interesting and where serious collectors start paying attention. There are rare instances where minting errors occur, subtle, nearly invisible variations that slip past quality control. These aren't just mistakes. In the world of coin collecting, they're treasures. We're talking about misstrikes, die errors, and anomalies that create one-of-a-kind coins. And among these, certain 2006 Lincoln pennies with unusual characteristics, particularly those with missing or altered mint marks combined with other microscopic errors, have sparked intense demand. Not casual interest. Not curiosity, demand. Because collectors aren't just buying coins, they're buying rarity. They're buying exclusivity. They're buying a story that only a handful of people in the world can own. Think about it like this. Anyone can have a dollar bill. But how many people can say they own a coin worth millions? That's a different level of wealth entirely. And here's something that might surprise you. Most of these valuable coins weren't discovered in vaults or museums. They were found in circulation, in everyday places, by ordinary people who simply knew what to look for. Let me pause for a second and ask you something. If $1 million opportunity was sitting in your pocket right now, would you recognize it? Or would you spend it on a cup of coffee? And let's be honest, if you did accidentally spend a $4 million penny at a vending machine, that might be the most expensive snack in history. Probably not the retirement plan you had in mind. But here's the good news. You're here. You're paying attention. And that puts you ahead of almost everyone else. The current market for rare error coins has exploded in recent years. High net worth collectors, investors, and even institutions are entering the space, driving prices to unprecedented levels. And among these, standout pieces like rare 2006 Lincoln pennies with unique minting anomalies have reached valuations that most people would never associate with a 1-cent coin. We're talking hundreds of thousands, millions, and in rare cases, valuations approaching $4 million for the most exceptional specimens. Why? Because scarcity drives value. And when supply is almost non-existent, demand doesn't just rise, it surges. Every year, more of these coins are either lost, damaged, or unknowingly spent. The pool of available high-grade examples is shrinking, which means the ones that remain, they're becoming more valuable by the day. You take a closer look at your coins tonight. You slow down, you pay attention, and you find one, a 2006 Lincoln penny. No mint mark. But this time you don't dismiss it. You examine it. You verify it. You take the next step. And suddenly you're not just holding a coin, you're holding leverage, opportunity, a potential gateway to financial transformation. Because selling a rare coin isn't just about cashing in. It's about stepping into a different level of awareness, a different level of financial intelligence. You don't need to be a lifelong collector. You don't need a vault or a private dealer network. You just need knowledge, attention, and the willingness to act when others hesitate. At the beginning, I asked you to imagine finding a multimillion-dollar penny. Now I want you to consider something even more powerful. Look for that 2006 Lincoln penny. Look closely. Pay attention to the details most people ignore. Because the difference between someone who discovers a fortune and someone who misses it often comes down to a single moment of awareness. Picture this, you're holding a simple penny. Just 1 cent, something most people wouldn't even bother to pick up off the ground. But what if I told you that one ordinary-looking coin from 2002 could quietly be worth up to $5 million? Yes, $5 million. Enough to completely transform your life, your family's future, and your financial freedom. Now here's the real question. How many of these coins have already slipped through people's fingers, spent on coffee, lost in couch cushions, or forgotten in jars? And more importantly, could one of them be sitting in your home right now? Let's step into a story that begins in 2002, when millions of Lincoln pennies were minted and released into circulation. At first glance, nothing seemed unusual. These coins carried the familiar face of Abraham Lincoln, the same design Americans had trusted for generations. But hidden within this massive production was a rare anomaly, a minting error so subtle that only trained eyes, or very lucky owners, would ever notice it. And here's where things get interesting. Some of these pennies were struck without a mint mark, a detail that, under very specific conditions and error variations, can elevate an ordinary coin into an extraordinary asset. Now, you might be thinking, wait, aren't there lots of pennies without mint marks? That's a fair question, and exactly what makes this story so fascinating. Not all no-mint mark coins are valuable. In fact, most are completely ordinary. But when combined with rare minting errors like double dies, off-center strikes, or die cracks, something powerful happens. Value begins to multiply, and in extremely rare cases, collectors and investors have been willing to pay staggering amounts, chasing the prestige and scarcity of owning a one-of-a-kind piece of history. Imagine this, a collector, sitting at an auction, heart pounding, as bids climb higher and higher. 10,000, 50,000, 100,000. And it doesn't stop. Why? Because in the world of rare coins, uniqueness is everything. The rarer the error, the more intense the demand. And when demand meets scarcity, prices don't just rise, they explode. This is the same psychological force that has turned overlooked coins into million-dollar treasures. But here's the twist most people never see coming. These coins don't announce themselves. They don't shine brighter. They don't feel heavier. They blend in perfectly with everyday change, which means the opportunity isn't reserved for experts or dealers. It belongs to anyone willing to look closely. Yes, even you, especially you. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you actually examined the pennies in your possession? Not glanced at them, but truly inspected them? Because right now, across the United States, thousands of valuable coins are hiding in plain sight. In jars, drawers, old piggy banks, inherited collections, quietly waiting. And the difference between someone who discovers them and someone who doesn't is simply awareness. Now here's where excitement meets urgency. The market for rare coins is not slowing down, it's heating up. Wealthy collectors are actively searching for unique pieces, and they are willing to pay premium prices to secure them. Why? Because rare coins are more than currency. They are history, they are status, they are assets that hold and often increase their value over time. And when a coin like a rare 2002 Lincoln penny with a significant mint error surfaces, it doesn't stay available for long. Think about this scenario. Someone just like you, going through a box of old coins late one evening, maybe out of curiosity, maybe just passing time, and then they notice something different, a detail that doesn't quite match, a missing mark, a slight doubling, a subtle imperfection that suddenly feels important. That moment right there is where everything changes, because that's the moment when an ordinary person steps into an extraordinary opportunity. Now, let's break the illusion for a second with a quick reality check. If pennies could talk, how many do you think would be screaming, "Hey, I'm worth a fortune"? Probably none, right? Exactly. That's why attention to detail is your greatest advantage. While others ignore, you observe. While others spend, you evaluate. And that simple shift in behavior can open doors to possibilities most people never experience. As we move toward the final part of this journey, everything connects. The hidden rarity of the 2002 no-mint mark penny, the explosive demand in the collector's market, the overlooked coins sitting in everyday homes. And one powerful truth: opportunity doesn't always look valuable at first glance. Sometimes it looks exactly like a 1-cent coin. So here's your moment. Not tomorrow, not next week. Right now, go find those coins. Check the dates. Look for errors. Pay attention to the smallest details. Because the difference between a penny and a fortune could be one tiny imperfection. And in a world where financial breakthroughs are rare, this is one of the few opportunities that could already be in your hands. And who knows, the next time you pick up a penny, you might not just be holding spare change. You might be holding a life-changing discovery. What if I told you that a single penny, yes, a 1-cent coin you might have ignored, tossed in a jar, or even left in your car cup holder, could be worth millions of dollars today? Not thousands, Not hundreds of thousands, but millions. Now pause for a second. When was the last time you actually looked at a penny closely? Exactly. Most people never do. And that's why opportunities like this quietly pass from one hand to another, until someone who knows recognizes it. Today, we're uncovering the truth about the 1997 D Mint Mark Lincoln penny, an ordinary-looking coin that, under the right conditions, could transform your financial future. And here's the part that should make you sit up straight. Some of these coins have been associated with values reaching into the millions when rare error variations are involved. The year is 1997. Millions of pennies are minted in Denver, marked with a small d just below the date. To the average person, it's just another coin in circulation. Nothing special. Nothing worth a second glance. But hidden within these coins are rare anomalies, mint errors that occur during production. These errors are not mistakes to collectors. They are treasures. Now imagine this. You're cleaning out an old drawer, maybe going through a jar of coins you've ignored for years. Your fingers brush past a 1997 penny. You almost toss it aside. But something makes you stop. Maybe it looks slightly off. Maybe the lettering isn't perfectly aligned. Maybe there's doubling, a shift, or an unusual mark. That moment right there is where everything changes. And let's be honest, if someone told you that a penny could be worth millions, you'd probably laugh, right? I mean, it sounds like something out of a movie. But here's the reality. Rare mint errors have sold for life-changing amounts. The difference between a common coin and a rare one often comes down to microscopic details most people overlook. Quick question. How many of you have ever used a penny as a screwdriver? Don't worry, no judgment. But imagine using a coin worth thousands or even more for that. That's the kind of mistake we're here to make sure you never make again. Now let's talk about what makes the 1997 D Lincoln penny so valuable in certain cases. It's all about error coins. These include double dies, off-center strikes, misaligned dies, and other rare production flaws. When these errors are significant and verified, collectors compete aggressively to acquire them. Why? Because rarity drives demand and demand drives price. There have been reports and speculative valuations placing extremely rare variations of this coin in the multimillion-dollar conversation. Now, does that mean every 1997 D penny is worth millions? Absolutely not. But here's where the urgency comes in. Most people who do have rare coins don't even realize it. They spend them, they lose them, or worse, they sell them for face value. Think about that for a moment. Someone somewhere may have unknowingly spent a fortune on a cup of coffee. And here's the truth most people won't tell you. Time is not on your side. Rare coins don't stay hidden forever. As more collectors enter the market and more discoveries are made, the window to find undervalued coins begins to close. The people who act early, who educate themselves, who check their coins carefully, they're the ones who win. The current market for rare coin errors is stronger than ever. Collectors are paying premium prices for authenticated pieces, and high-grade error coins can command staggering figures. Stories of unexpected discoveries turning into massive payouts are not myths. They're documented realities. This is where your attention to detail becomes your greatest asset. A slight doubling in the text, a shift in the mint mark, an unusual texture or strike. These aren't flaws. They're signals. Signals that your coin might be something extraordinary. And here's the exciting part, you don't need to be a professional numismatist to start. You just need awareness, patience, and the willingness to look closer than everyone else. Right now, you're in a position most people never reach. You know that something as simple as a penny could hold incredible value. You're aware. And awareness is the first step toward opportunity. Imagine the feeling of discovering that one coin. The one that stands out. The one that doesn't quite match the others. The one that experts confirm is rare. That moment isn't just about money. It's about transformation. It's about turning overlooked details into real, tangible wealth. Start checking your coins. Look at every 1997 D Lincoln penny with fresh eyes. Compare details. Research known error types. And if something looks unusual, don't ignore it. Get it evaluated by professionals. Because the cost of checking is nothing compared to the cost of missing out. The truth is, hidden wealth doesn't announce itself. It waits quietly for someone observant enough to recognize it. Because right now, somewhere in your home, your car, or even your pocket, there could be a coin that changes everything.